This is Ranger Kidwell Ross, editor of WorldSweeper.com, director of the World Sweeping Association. I have the pleasure today to speak with Vivian, and she will tell you about Hayden AI. And she is a strategy professional there with that organization. And she knows of our interest in camera ticketing, and that's one of the things we'll be talking about. So thanks very much for Vivian for this and talk to us.
Yeah, for sure. So my name is Vivian. I've been with Hayden for over a year now. I started as the chief of staff to the CEO, and I switched into a strategy and ops role in the past few months. We just closed Series C with TPG. So we raised about 90 million extra for our business. In terms of our business, we are currently camera AI enforced ticketing. We have cameras that we have employed on different transit buses throughout the US. So over 1,000 buses in New York City have Hayden cameras on them ticketing right now. So the way you can think of it is if you were to drive by or drive through a bus lane or stopping at a bus stop, you will get ticketed in New York, in DC, in LA, and in different areas that AC Transit in the Bay Area currently enforce. We also have pilots throughout the world. So in Cork, Ireland, in Portugal, Australia. So we're quickly expanding beyond just the US. As you can imagine, I think cities, especially with like lower budgets, they need not only something that's better for the environment and for ridership, but also it helps them make sure that public transit is still able and running well. So we partner with municipalities to help enforce ticketing throughout the world. I think one thing that we are looking into is potentially expanding that beyond just transit buses. Obviously, street sweepers is a no-brainer. We've talked about it with multiple cities. LA, for instance, has expressed interest. New York has expressed interest. We've spoken with pretty much any of our existing customers have all expressed interest in expanding beyond transit. Um, as you can imagine, it's very similar, right? There's like certain times that these street sweepers are coming through the streets. It's annoying to have cars parked in those time frames, and it's annoying for street sweeper professionals to have to come out of the street sweeper and figure out the ticketing and then come back on. So it can improve sort of the overall efficiency as well. In terms of the technology itself, so we have an LPR camera as well as a enforcement camera. So what we do is we have the buses that have the cameras installed inside the windshield. And they survey pretty much and are able to locate where the bus lane is. We also are doing bike lanes, so where bike lanes are, where bus lanes are, if people are double parked as another use case of ours. And so the camera is able to scan what's out there and where the violations are. And then we send a video package that's sent to a processor. And then from that processor, we're able to actually issue that violation. So is done all on the edge, and it goes into the cloud as well, but all of the ticketing is kind of done on the device. So the hope is that we can eventually get to a place where we're also employing these devices on street sweepers. Um, as you can imagine, as we know, in order to actually have these devices functioning and working with municipalities, we need to have legislation passed. So we have a legislation strategy team that does exactly that. And so for the last couple years, we've been going through different states in the US and getting bills passed to enforce violations this way. A lot of states don't have it yet enacted, and I think we would have to do the same for street sweepers. In New York, there was a law that almost got passed. It got passed, I believe, through the House, or no, the Senate, but not the House. And we're still waiting on getting that passed for street sweepers, since MTA is one of our largest customers. They are looking for that to be passed, and then we will hopefully get those deployed throughout New York as well. So I wanted to get a sense from you guys as like street sweeper in industry professionals, like what is sort of the best strategy for this? Like, is there like demand in the market for this? How would you guys think about and thank you for sending me that, that file. I think that helps a lot. That is exactly what we're looking to do. So yeah, I thought it would be good to connect and hopefully get more information from you guys as well.
Okay, that's great. Thank you. And let me see if I can get this. I don't know if this is switched to me or not. That's fine. Um, one of the one of the things that is a problem right now is that sweepers are going to. There's usually a 4 hour window, and the
Hmm.
4 hour window is um, that you have to move your car and you have to put it someplace when the sweeper goes by. And another aspect of that is that it's a problem that when that happens, the people don't have a place to go. Plus, when the sweeper goes by, and I see this on social media a lot, they still get a ticket because
Yeah.
the ticket people come at a some amount of time after the sweeper goes by. People say, "Oh, the sweeper went by. I can see the trail," and so they'll repark and then they'll still get a ticket. Or the sweeper doesn't operate that day and they still get a ticket, even though the sweeper didn't ever go by. So
I
those
see.
are really problems.
I
Um,
see.
and so it's clearly would be better for street sweepers to have a camera on them such that they
Yeah.
can do the ticketing like we're talking about. Um, what a lot of people don't realize is that when you're sweeping, not just for cosmetics, but to for the environment to reduce the stormwater pollution that's being generated from a street, that's wash off on the street, that when a car is parked on the block, you're actually losing 3 car lengths of sweeping because you have to pull
Mm-hmm.
out early, then you go past, then you go back in. By now it's 3 car.
Yep.
So we're encouraging at World Sweeper companies, we're strongly encouraging cities to analyze what they're, first off, do an analysis in some of their sweeper routes and see what kind of pollutants they have and what concentration of pollutants. This is helps them sell the concept of moving their vehicles.
Hmm.
Now that you know that amount that you're going to pick up on your sweeper route. You translate to your sweeper route. Now the
Hmm.
sweeper goes down, and we suggest that you have an operator with some kind of a device where they can track how many car lengths they've missed on their sweep on their route on a given day.
Hmm.
Now, because we know how much material they're picking up on their route,
Hmm.
because we can track
Hmm.
that. Now we know also how much they've left. And because we encourage the city to find out what kind of pollutants are in that material and in what concentrations, now we can not only know how much material we're picking up with our street sweeping, but
Yeah.
if you don't have a vehicle removal program and it's not mandatory, it's just voluntary, then you're going to have a lot of cars that are left, and you can use that data to extrapolate to how much pollutant is left on the road that you could be getting rid of that you're not because you don't have a vehicle removal program.
Yeah.
Why don't you have a vehicle removal program? Well, in a lot of cases, it's because you have to move your car for 4 hours. So
Yeah.
we suggest that with enhanced sweeping program, we can involve with that an enhanced ticketing process with a company such as yours, where we build an app, and we're in the process of doing that through our Sea Grant microplastics study that's being done through the Sea Grant USC in California. That
Mhm.
we will be developing an app where people can come on for that live there, put their address in. It shows them what sweeping route they're on, what day the sweeping is, and now you have a series of pull down menus, and you can say, well, let me know the day before sweeping is going to happen. Alert me on my phone or on my computer. Then
Mhm.
for the day of, here's what I'd like. For example, I'd like to know, let's say when the sweeper's a mile away.
Mhm.
And now I know that I can, if I'm have my car there on the street, I just go out, get in it. I could even get to where I could drive around the block. But maybe you
Yeah.
pull your kids into the car and you go off and shop for an hour, and then you come back. You get another notice when the sweeper has gone by. So now you know you can go and park back. Your car was not there. We have a camera. Oh, bless you. We have a
Thank you.
uh, that has cataloged the license plates and sent that off. And
Yep.
and that's a much better system for all. We're able to get to all the material. Now, a question I wonder about with Hayden AI, do you think a system could be built where it would have the capability to identify things like potholes or signs that are down or low-hanging branches, that kind of thing, that could be also sent to the correct agency that is in the pothole fix department or is in the low hanging branches department, that kind of.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That is something we've also looked into. We call it asset management, like city asset management, where we can essentially help triage different areas of the city that need repair, or we're able to show in our system when things look different. So, like for example, yesterday, this sign was up, the storm passed over the night or something, and like the next day, we can show to the city that like this actually fell, and we can show them when, what time, what fell, where, and they can kind of triage that information to the right party to go ahead and fix that.
Mhm.
I think one thing that we are more focused on currently, because I think cities love that idea, but don't have the budget for that idea to date. I think, and especially with the election and whatnot, I think um, the federal budget is even like more squeezed for public transit, or like for public agencies like this.
Mhm.
And so one of the pluses, I think, of having a system like ours work with these government agencies is that the ticketing actually enables them to generate revenue, which hasn't historically been the case with a lot of this. And if you can imagine, like, yes, we can show you when potholes need to be fixed, but then you're spending more money to
Uh-huh.
try and fix those potholes, right? So I do think there is an aspect there as well. I think with street sweepers in particular, that is so similar with transit, is that it enables easier like city, like you obviously, like the city wants their streets to be clean, and you're also doing it in a way that enforces something that they can also generate revenue from, which is a bigger sell, I think, at least from our sales team, that cities are like, oh yeah, like that's something that we can try to like utilize our budget for. So that is something that we've also kept in mind. But to your point, yes, that is something that our system does and can do. I think just like from like a city, at least in the US, there's not really budget for it right now. We've tried to push it. We've tried to talk. People all like everyone is like, yes, obviously we would love to have that, but it just doesn't make sense based on the budgetary concerns that or
Yeah,
constraints
yeah,
that
let
are
me jump
in
in on
place.
the other side. I know that lots of cities, and this is it provides an additional way to sell this sort of thing, is that a a city, many cities now have things like hired people, and they go around in a pickup truck, for example, and maybe they're on the street all the time because they need to see drive all of the streets to see what's going on every couple of weeks uh,
Right.
time. So you're eliminating that as a cost. You're also
True.
eliminating the uh, ticket enforcement folks that are going along behind the sweeper. You're also
Mhm.
eliminating a lot of complaints from your citizens about the fact that the sweeper had gone by and they still got ticketed and
Yeah.
a lot of that negative stuff.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
eliminating the 4 hours. You have to have your vehicle gone for 4 hours. You don't have to have that happening anymore either. So it's a lot harder to uh, to be negative about the fact now that, and especially when you educate the city officials that
Right.
sweeping has been shown to be at least 5 to 7 times more cost-effective way to remove pollutants. So if you're
Hmm.
trying to hit TSS goals, TMDL goals, then
Yeah.
the most cost-effective way you can do that is via sweeping. And we also
Yeah.
encourage that you would to get a bigger budget available to you if stormwater removal, pollutant removal is important to you, then we
Right.
suggest that you connect up your stormwater management department with your sweeping department because
Hmm.
there are a lot of cities that now have budgets that money is made available via a lot of times via ticketing through the something like garbage pickup um,
Right.
that so they have a lot bigger budget and they're spending it in areas that are not as cost effective as sweeping. So
Right.
we're encouraging that they would recognize that, combine the budgets, sweep until the cost of the last pound picked up by a sweeper equals the cost of the first pound picked up by catch basins.
Hmm.
Excuse me, and then move from sweeping to catch basin or
Yeah.
grass swales or whatever else you have to do. So
Yeah. Ranger, for the Santa Barbara effort that you guys are having, are you in contact with the city about partnering with a company like Hayden?
yes, we are. In fact, that's you're talking to the right person on that. And
Okay.
so that's what I'm looking for is a company that can do that. And uh, I don't know how. We're hoping that we can use GIS data and to
Hmm.
develop into the apps and so forth, and to work with something like this. So um, I think the capabilities that you're talking about are very exciting. Of course, to do that in a pilot program that we would hope would extend out
Yeah.
for and
Yeah,
public.
we do pilots as well. Just to like, yeah, so that is something that we like is a very big part of our go-to-market strategy is to showcase to cities before we even start actually ticketing live. Is to show you guys within like 2 weeks to a month to a couple months, depending like whenever, however long we want to do that for,
Mhm.
to show you guys like what the system can do, how many tickets you would get, how it works. You guys would have access to the portal in terms of like the data that you guys would see, where you would see all of the tickets, what the packages look like. It gives you a touch and feel for the actual product, before actually contracting with us. So that is definitely something that we can look into if that's of interest for a pilot.
Sure. And can we get any kinds of estimates that you want to provide of cost per sweeper where it's being utilized or per hour of usage, or I don't know how the charging is done through your system?
So there's a few different ways we can do it. We actually install the devices ourselves. We have an installation team, but sometimes cities like to do it themselves or have a partner that they would like to do it with. In that case, a lot of times we just sell the hardware outright, and then we offer what we call hardware as a service, where basically you own the hardware, but then we're able to like push updates through our software. And if you guys wanted to upgrade hardware, we totally can. We can talk about how that like cost breaks out, but we charge by device. So some folks, like for instance, like in New York, we did it in tranches. So our first tranche, we had 400 buses that were equipped with Hayden. Our second tranche was 100, then it was 200. So we like kind of built it up over time. But some cities like to start small, obviously. So like Culver City, for example, has like two. So like it's kind of up to the city based off of like capacity, budget, and then route as well. Like if there's certain routes that make a lot of sense to do, then by all means, right? But if some cities want to have it in every like major artery of this applies more to buses, but they
Sure.
might want to do that. But um I actually have a meeting right now, but let's Let's connect again. I'm gonna chat with Brandon, who's our sales lead. Who I want to understand it, like if we've already spoken with Santa Barbara or not. I don't know. If so, like I can try to talk to him and maybe have him connect with you guys. If that sounds good. Maybe we can also try and send you guys like to your team or whoever that you're working on, like a short brief of like Hayden. And
Right.
maybe that would be helpful as well.
And I have our lead at the city
Yeah.
is involved with this and with the sweeping program and so forth, Jill Murray. So
Okay.
we will involve her. I'll involve her with this video, as well as Roger Sutherland and other selected people that make sense.